some young broke dude.
Entitled kid crashes into Para's car, gets entitled dad to sue, get what they have coming for them. First time with one of these, so I hope I did it pretty good. TLDR at the bottom, on mobile, so I may make some mistakes. If I do, make fun of me, as English is my first and only language. First thing I want to say is I did not witness this as I had track practice during the incident, but I heard all about it from a lot of people I trust and can promise you it is pretty accurate. So I live in the country near a small town, 1,000-ish people, along with almost all the kids that go to my school. Unfortunately, that means I live near Entitled Kid's family. When they first moved in 5-ish years ago, they were pretty cool. Unfortunately, it didn't stay that way. Now on to the story. So my school releases at 3:30, but all teachers are required to stay until at least 4, in case any students need help on their homework. This includes paras, who help with our libraries in our school. It also happens to include any student that is failing a class, where they have to stay after school until 4 to work on their grade in that class. The entitled kid in this situation just so happened to be failing a few classes. Entitled kid, by the way, is the worst driver I have ever seen. Para was driving out of my school's parking lot at 4-ish. There's only one main exit anyone uses, and Entitled kid comes whipping right up behind her in her beat-up vehicle that has clearly had a few fender benders. Somehow she manages to hit the back end of Para's car and leaves a nice little dent along with scratches on Para's car, as well as her own. Being the entitled little shit she is, she immediately drives off and pretends nothing happens. The next day, Para talks to the school administration about having a talk with Entitled kid to sort out the mess she made. When the school brings Entitled kid in, she claims that she wasn't even at the school at the time and that Para must have already had the dent and was just trying to place the blame on Entitled kid, so the Entitled kid's family would have to pay for it, as everyone considers her a bad driver except her parents. The school decides to call in Entitled kid's parents, hoping they will talk some sense into their daughter. Boy, were they wrong. Entitled dad is technically a tax advisor, but always talks about how he is basically a lawyer and has all the knowledge needed to be one. Entitled mother is just a hype man, I guess woman, to her husband. They are both crazy. When Entitled dad and Entitled mother come in, without even hearing any of the evidence, say that Entitled kid is innocent, as she could never do such a thing with how precious she is. They agree with Entitled kid that Para was lying about the damage to her car. Entitled dad says that if the school doesn't punish Para, fire her or something, he will sue Para for a false claim and the school for something. He demands that Para admits that she was lying about the damage and even pay for the repairs for Entitled kid's car for the annoyance it brought Entitled dad and Entitled mother, as well as upsetting Entitled kid so badly. Para refused to drop the claims and even decided to countersue Entitled dad and Entitled mother for their claims against her. Little did Entitled dad know, but the school had security camera footage literally showing Entitled kid smashing into Para's new car and then speeding off. The school and Para never told Entitled dad about the footage, and he actually took her to court and represented him and his daughter. From what I heard, the second the security footage was presented, he was dumbfounded, and I believe Para won her countersuit, which fixed all the damage and then some. The school banned Entitled kid from parking in the parking lot for 3 months, as well as banning Entitled dad and Entitled mother from being on school grounds for the same amount of time, unless they were specifically called in by the school. Hope that was pretty good. Thanks to those of you who sort by new. Also, I have plenty more Entitled parent, Entitled kid stories from this family if you guys want them. They are crazy. TLDR, Entitled kid, a terrible driver, crashes into a school Para, family sues Para for false claims, Para countersues for damages, and uses security footage showing the crash. Entitled kid, Entitled dad, and Entitled mother get what they deserve. Anime is satanic. Entitled mother harasses me and friend for buying Dragon Ball Blu-rays. I was in HMB last week browsing the anime section with my friend Dave. We were in town as we hadn't really hung out in a few months. He lives far away and we hadn't seen each other since college stopped. Entitled mother comes in with her little shit who we'll call little shit. We do our best to avoid her as her facial expression was aggressive. I show Dave the Dragon Ball Super Blu-ray with the episode of the copy Vegeta. Jelly Vegeta I called the clone. Dave and I are chuckling as we compare different anime and the prices. Entitled mother overhears us and storms over. She slaps the boxes out of our hands and calls us sinning Satanist cartoon worshippers. A worker who I knew for over a year, Teresa, T for short, came over and asked what was going on since she overheard the screaming and wanted to resolve the issue.
These two sinners are worshipping the devil with these evil cartoons.
She's screeching like a constipated chicken.
That's anime, miss, and I don't appreciate you damaging store property.
Entitled mother starts going off at poor Teresa before the manager is called out and tries to confront the fugly troll of an entitled mother. Manager gets an earful of this Bible basher's bullshit and tells her to leave. Entitled mother starts throwing the anime stuff off the shelves and stamping on many of the boxes. I was too stunned to really do anything, but Dave screamed at her about how she was stupid for destroying so much expensive stuff. Police were called and she was literally dragged out by about 5 policemen, all doing their best to keep her from lashing out at them. I don't know what happened to Entitled Mother, but I do know that a little shit hasn't been back to the shop since. Little shit is little shit because he called us sinners, Satanists, and unclean, but didn't turn violent like his mother. I tend to hold grudges. Don't judge me over it. Too long, don't read. Hippity hoppity, Entitled Mother destroys property. Bippity boppity boo, she goes to jail too. Note, to any anime fans, I really am sorry if this post offends you. Why? Just why? So I am a 13-year-old with English as my first language. I go to a private school and that just begs entitlement. This happened 2.5 years ago. So I go on a bus to school every day, a 1-hour commute to and from, first one in the mornings, last off in the afternoon. Hence I know people's usual tardiness, but Karen is a whole nother thing. Her son is always late, 5 to 10 minutes, slowing the whole bus and sometimes causing you to be late for school. And things get out of hand. One time he was 46 minutes late from supposed meeting time. Then Karen rushed down, dragging him, sickly pale, marks across his face, not apologizing, and yelling at the driver, why didn't they call her? When the kid got on the bus, I asked the kid what happened. He said 2 words, sick, beaten, and rolls up his shirt, revealing many straight marks. Found out to be a whip. The whole trip was silent from then. Getting to school, he asked me to help him to the nurse, and from there he was rushed to the hospital, and from what I heard, he was staying with the principal until his dad came back from a work trip, while his mother got charged for child abuse and illegal possession of drugs and guns. Now the kid is a high-grading student, pretty good-looking too, can't say for myself. Edit. Thank you all, you internet citizens, for the 200 upvotes. Also to the person who asked, he did thank me after that and we still have mutual contact and meet every now and again. Mother hasn't seen her kid in years, demands money for supporting them. This is my first time posting to this Reddit and writing out a full story like this, so I apologize about my grammar and formatting. A little backstory. My past isn't the prettiest, we'll say. My mother wasn't the best person, and in simple terms emotionally abused me. She also physically abused me and my younger siblings, which I had to care for, by not giving us enough food or clothes that fit, even though my mother had 3 incomes coming in. We were poor, yes. She spent all of her money on pills and beer while I was 8, and like I stated before, took care of my siblings. After a few years of this, my mom got into an accident. This accident was drunk driving, almost killed me and my younger siblings in that crash. My father was able to gain custody of me and stop child support, one area of income she had at the time, while my stepdad took my younger siblings as well. I was on regulated visits to see my mother from the court system, and my mother screwed that up too. Another story for another time. And it got to the point where my mother only called or texted me and my father for money. This incident is one of those times mentioned above. I don't remember this well since my father handled it, but I was able to get my hands on my father's phone and talk with him to remember this story. I was 14 or so when I had just come home from school. My father's phone was ringing off the hook. Me being the responsible kid I was, after the 3rd or so call, I brought it to my father outside, who was shoveling snow right as the call stopped coming in. As soon as he told me to bring it back inside, it was vibrating like a maraca from text messages, with ringtone included, and me and him were getting ticked off, so I brought it inside, turned off the ringtone and vibration, and Dad came in a few minutes later to the following text. Her grammar is way worse than mine, so I translated it into normal human speech.
It's my turn to claim OP this year for child support. We alternate every other year, court mandated, and you owe me X amount of dollars for unpaid child support for the past 4 years. I was nice in letting you keep the money, but I need it. You violated our terms. If you come to Afghanistan and pay up, I won't press charges.
My dad was scared. She mentioned a court order that those two did uphold when I was switching weekends with them when I was a small child, and he didn't know the status of the order. He called his attorney and she noted that the order was expired since my father received custody of me years prior. If he did owe money, it wouldn't be the case and he could countersue for the abuse she put me through and emotional damages she had done to him. My father, now relieved, texted her the following.
If you would like to receive money back and would like to talk about that expired order, my attorney's phone is available and we are ready to go back to court to finish the job. And that order is expired. It was only in place when we switched days with OP so we could have equal time and let her have both parents in her life. So you can't bring me to court without a real reason, and the money I owe you isn't even owed. I even gave you the money for child support when I got OP because I knew you needed a little more of an income to live since this just got cut off.
Note, he got temporary custody because my mother never showed up to court, and when she rarely did, she would cause chaos. It was never settled, and still isn't after all these years, and we are still waiting for our next court date from my mother's attorney, which we will never get. My mother starts spamming his phone, which I condensed. There's about 20 messages that came with it.
You come to Afghanistan now. I went through hell carrying that child. OP wasn't supposed to be born, but I kept them. I wanted a boy. It was rare I kept him. Thank their carrier. And I need money. I'm running low, and you don't want OP's mother on the streets. You know how much guilt they'll carry? Letting their poor mother onto the street? I need the money. Screw that court order. It's still in place. Be thankful I'm giving you another chance at paying me. Go now and I'll be kind.
At this point, my dad was stunned she was even saying these things. She wasn't stopping her rant and it was getting very out of hand. My father kept texting something on the lines of, okay, so, and it pissed her off more.
You come now! I'm here with my attorney ready to sign. You can't stop this, so just give me the money, or else OP won't see their mother again from suicide.
My dad was even more shocked, but finally had enough. He never stood up to her until she almost killed me and my siblings in that accident that forked me over to my father. He never would apologize to her and frankly had enough of her BS, so he called me into his room.
OP?
Yeah? Father in the most poop-eating grin he could muster.
How do you copy and paste on my phone?
After teaching him with my text message room not seeing what my mother was coming up with, he kept copying and pasting the following to her.
Please contact my attorney to follow up.
What?
Please contact my attorney to follow up.
You don't say that to me! I demand respect for carrying these kids through hell, or else I'll get the cops to order you to court. You'll go to jail and OP will have no parents.
Please contact my attorney to follow up.
After an hour, she stopped and never got the money. My father still laughs about it to this day, and I finally was able to see the stuff she mustered up the other day. She still only calls me for money, and now me and my older sister finally learned how to stand up to her or even ignore her. She doesn't see any of her kids now and is living off of a sugar daddy. Sorry that this isn't like the crazy entitled parents you find here on the site. This was one story that popped back into my head recently and thought you guys might get a little kick out of my mother demanding to get money for a kid she hasn't seen or even supported in years. That's my dog. I don't care if you have her paperwork. This happened yesterday, so I'm still pissed. Back in November, my parents got me a pure breed Cocker Spaniel. My father thought she would be a good service dog. I have PTSD, severe anxiety and depression, and bipolar disorder and can snap in a heartbeat. So my mom wants to wait till she's 6 months to get a trainer, but I'm still training her to understand when I'm freaking out or about to snap. Now to yesterday. We were at the park in the field and this lady who we'll call Karen came over with a stroller and a young, maybe 2-year-old child. This is how it went. Me playing with my dog.
Aw, what a cute dog.
Thank you. My dog sits on my lap.
Is she a purebred?
Yes, she's a purebred Cocker Spaniel.
Oh, okay, thank you.
No problems. Have a nice day. She walks off and I think it's over. 10 minutes later she comes back with an officer, pointing at me.
There she is. That's the little girl who stole my dog.
What the fuck are you talking about?
She stole my dog.
Ma'am, would you give this lady her dog back?
Me thinking nope and petting the dog? Why would I give some lady my dog?
That's my daughter's dog. She stole my dog, officer. Make her give my dog back.
The officer looking annoyed.
Ma'am, do you have proof that this is your dog?
Me? Yes, I have proof she's mine. I stand up and call for her to come with me. Marinette, come on. She follows me over and I get her paperwork out of my bag. Officer, here you go. I hand it to him. I'm sorry she doesn't have her rabies shot yet. My mother wants to wait till she's 6 months to make sure she's safe. Karen looks shocked.
I'm sorry to have bothered you.
And he looks at Karen.
Could you please leave this young lady alone?
Don't worry, we're about to leave. I hook on Marinette's leash to her harness and grab my dog. Have a nice day. I walk off with my pupper. I have to say this, I have so many entitled parent stories because they seem to move here as our city is trying to fix its image and built a ton of new houses and apartments that are pretty pricey, so these people think it's their way or the highway. I have way more stories that have happened in the past year. I posted a pic of her on r/goodboys if you want to see her. She's a golden Cocker Spaniel with one blue and one brown eye. Edit, the reason I have her papers is because with service dogs you're supposed to, and I've heard stories of people like this and didn't want to take my chance. Sorry I can't spell, so lots of mess ups. Anti-vax entitled mother nearly kills me. So this story happened a few days ago and I needed to post this. I'm on mobile and forgot to add periods to sentences. So as none of you know, I cannot be vaccinated because of reasons, and also I'm extremely allergic to fragrance, so no essential oils, not like they do anything. I was walking back from a normal checkup from the doctor and while I was going out the door saw a woman and her daughter peddling some anti-vax propaganda. Then she walks up to me.
Are you vaccinated?
Actually no, I can't vaccinate.
You lucky devil, so no one can force you to vax. That would be a dream for my daughter. Imagine they would still accept her for not being up to date.
Well, okay then. I gotta go.
Wait, here's a gift for opening my eyes on your condition.
Entitled mother hands me some essential oils. Sorry, but I'm allergic to those. Daughter, like a freaking salesperson.
Actually, these oils have been proven to have no bad side effects. Just try them.
Entitled mother starts to forcefully apply the oils for me to then break out in a rash.
You liar!
Excuse me, what?
You have obviously been vaxxed. Rash is the most common effect of vaccines.
The rash was starting to get worse by the second, so I ran off, and let's just say I saw my doctor twice today. Edit. The hospital was told that the entitled mother was there, and they got kicked out.